All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another session of learning. Today, our host with the most is no other than the one and only Are himself. Please, Tomisin, take it away. And happy new month. Well, happy August. For those that do, happy new month.
Thank you so much, Ayatunde. Hi, everyone. Good morning. I'm sure we're having a very great Tuesday morning. Welcome to a new, fresh month. I wish you all the very best this month has to offer. Okay. Yeah, sorry. It's very bad if I don't introduce my co-host, Fefe Kemi. Anani's not back yet, so I guess you just have to bear with me. Okay, so today we'll be revisiting the session we had earlier last month, which is Metaverse. And really, I'd like to just, first of all, go around the room. Let me get, an idea of our understanding of what, the Metaverse is. Because I think from the last session on Metaverse, I did a bit of survey and I found out that many people didn't really understand, what, the Metaverse is all about. And some people still felt like they have a misconception about the Metaverse. So I want to just go around the room, and, you could just show, and if you have an understanding of what the Metaverse is, just to help us get better understanding before I go into my slides. Anyone? Or do I call people that I think might know about the Metaverse? Okay, I think there are no hands. Let me just ask around. Let me see. I just want to get an understanding from anybody what they think the Metaverse really is. Okay, so I can see a few people on the call. Hi, Richard. Hi, Richard Babashola. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Hello, Tomisin.
Hi, Richard. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
How you
Yeah,
doing? I just want to find out if you know what the Metaverse is.
Well,
Can you explain? I want to understand.
Yeah, based on the last section that we had, where Chui was talking about Metaverse, at least some of the things I could pick out was that, Metaverse has to do with, different realities. For example, we have give instances of virtual reality, the augmented reality, and all that, this artificial intelligence. So where you have interaction between different realities. So basically, that's my understanding about it. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Richard. Yeah, so I think it's pretty much straightforward. I'll give, as we go on, I'll give examples so that it can help us better understand, what the Metaverse is and is all about. Okay, wait. So I'd like. Okay, let me ask another person so I can get another understanding. Hi, Daniel. Good morning. Can you quickly explain to us what you think the Metaverse is?
Hi, Tomisin. The metaverse. I know why you sent me, why you called me. No, don't worry. We'll see in our DMs. The metaverse, it's a virtual world where people tend where that more like creates some form of augmented reality for people to interact, um, connect, and at the same time even do business. Um, Ever since it's begun, and of course, it requires some certain kinds of gadgets and some certain kind of devices that would help one to interact when you get on the metaverse. So, simply put, it is a virtual world that fosters connection or builds connection for individuals, for friends, families, and even that of businesses as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Daniel, for your quick explanation. So, I mean, we've heard, two different perspectives of what metaverse, represents or means. So I'd like us to just go through my slides now. Mama's coming. Go through my slides now. Sorry, guys. So what is the metaverse, right? Let's just find out. I'll play a couple of videos for us as we go on, and then we'll get to understand what it really means and what it represents. So yeah, please let's watch this short video and have an understanding first.
Sorry, I would need to stop presenting. I didn't click the share sound, so just a second.
This is the Oasis. It's a place where the limits of reality are your own imagination. You can do anything. Go anywhere. Like the Vacation Planet. Surf a 50-foot monster wave in Hawaii. You can ski down the pyramids.
Okay, so while
climb Mount
Ayatunde
Everest.
is prepared to
Batman.
help us with the sound, let me just give a brief
Check out this place. It's a casino the
explanation
size of a planet.
as to what
You can lose your
this
money there. You
metaverse.
can get
Can you guys
married.
hear me? Hello?
Tomisin, we can hear you. I was playing the video. I didn't hear.
Nope. We didn't hear it.
Did anybody hear the video?
I think they, sorry, Tomisin, you, but I could hear the video.
Ah, okay. Oh, sorry. I guess I'm the only one that cannot hear it. All right. Sorry, please go ahead.
All right.
You can get divorced. You can go in there. People come to the Oasis for all the things they can do, but they stay because of all the things they can be. Tall, beautiful, scary, a different sex, a different species, live action, cartoon. It's all your call. Yeah, that's me. Well, that's my avatar. At least until I feel like changing. Except for eating, sleeping, and bathroom breaks, whatever people want to do, they do it in the Oasis.
Tomisin, the video is done.
All right, thank you so much, Aya, today. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's like creating a virtual, universe, right? And making people get the access to converse, to interact, right? Basically, it's like building a universe different from where you're currently existing, right? Something futuristic like we see in movies, and the power to communicate and catch up with people in real time, no matter the location. So it's just the way you can do video calls, right? Just the way we are doing here. And then you find out that some people are in, Tokyo, some are in Jamaica, some are in Japan, some are in Nigeria, all across the world, but then in real time, right? And then being able to being able to interact with those different people in that virtual space, right? So if you look at some currently existing games, I know somebody mentioned something about the Pokemon Go, for example. I know far back as at 2016, 17, when I first had an encounter with the game, the idea is for you to go around collecting like I can't remember the name now. It's like Pokemon coins, sort of, right? And then when you accumulate these things, you get to a level, and then yada yada. But then the beauty of it is that you are walking in that virtual space, right? And then while doing that, so it's almost similar to how you play games online. And while playing games online, you are interacting with people. For example, somebody sends their user ID, and then you get to discuss with them. You get to play different adventure games with them, and then you are going level by level and the likes. So if we go to the next slide, we'll be able to understand and see the different levels at which this metaverse started. And if you look at this slide, I actually put an image of a game that, I mean, some of us must have come in contact with, early 2000s, in the days of the Segas and stuff. And the idea is for us to understand that it's more of an adventurous space, right? Most times is more collaborative, whereby you get to play with someone or against someone, and then you are moving into different levels, right? Okay, sorry about that, guys. I don't know what that was. So, like I was saying earlier, the idea is for you to move around different places, and get to different levels and scale through obstacles, just the same way you have Mario game, right? But the thing is that most of those games are today. I don't know if you can help us out. I don't know, somebody's mic is mistakenly on mute now. No, it's not Mama. It's not Mama. So the idea basically is for you to understand that in this space, rather than playing just people on a one-on-one, right, it is more interactive. Now that we're in an era whereby people, use advanced technology to reach out to others via VR, AR, and we're still going to get to that. But then in this particular era, right, it talks about how the metaverse actually started. It started with the name coined from a writer, which is William Gibson. He portrayed, all this sci-fi type, what's it called? Story, right? And he was the one that came about the name, the metaverse, right? That's entering into another realm of scientific and futuristic possibilities, whereby you get to interact with a lot of people, virtually in any space, any form. So these things have actually been in conception from the early 2000s. And the beauty of it is that all these things that have been scripted from way back are the things that we are currently, engaged in. So basically, when you see games like, especially in the 3D space, now when you see games like, if you go to the next slide, you see games like the God of War, right, where you're in another virtual space, going through obstacles and conquering different things, and then also games like the Grand Theft Auto, for example, you realize that you are in like a city where everything looks so real, right? And the beautiful thing about it is that these are like replicas of existing places, right? But then in like a virtual space. So I think to some extent, some of these gamification platforms have some sort of metaverse metrics to it, because if you look at it, it's like representing the modern day environment, right? But then in a virtual space. Now, what makes it much more successful to become a metaverse is the power to interact. So imagine playing like a Grand Theft Auto, for example, and then you are having conversations with like another friend of you, trying to unlock another level, right? And you guys are probably competing, right, on who's going to do it first. Maybe you have to do some tasks for you to unlock that level, and then you see your stars and all that. So it just goes to show the development over time as to how uh, the metaverse, has started and where it is and where it's still going to. And interestingly, we've seen a lot of development that has come under the metaverse. There are other games like the Paradox Metaverse. I actually watched um, um, the video of this particular game on YouTube, and it kind of portrayed, although it was too long, I didn't get a short version, but then it kind of portrayed the futuristic representation that the writer that coined his name, Metaverse, was trying to represent in his novel Neuromancer. So, when you see ads whereby you're seeing flying cars, you're seeing people that are, just the same way you saw in that first video of Ready Player One, it makes you understand that people are, or things are moving to the futuristic stage whereby we have the likes of the artificial intelligence, the likes of the VR, the AR, and mixed reality as well. And it goes to show the development stage, right, gradually of how these things have come. So the conception era from the mid 80s to the early 2000s, we saw how technology has advanced, from even the black and white photography to our computers, the desktop computers, up until when we're seeing, the Windows 98, the 99, all these things are still kind of encompassed under, the metaverse technology, basically. And it goes to show how these things will always keep improving over time. I won't be surprised if in another, 10, 15 years, something bigger than AI, comes to play. Yes, thank you. It comes to play, and we're in that era whereby we're also experiencing the blockchain emergence. So if you go to the next slide, I highlighted a bit of the things that the blockchain from the era of 2010 till date. So in without having to say too much, I want to ask around, right? How many of us have sort of come in contact or encountered or done a bit of uh, cryptocurrency trading, right? Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the like. I want to just have an understanding of why, whoever is went into it and what have your experience been so far. So I don't know if anybody's here that at some point you've experienced the blockchain um, um, concept. Anybody? Either you've traded in Bitcoin or you understand or you know about all these things, cryptocurrency. Anybody? Okay, just by you, I can see your hand up. Don't worry. It's a safe space. Even if you lost money, it's fine.
Yeah, hi Tomisin.
Good.
Good morning, everyone. Yeah, Joe, I was going to talk about Dogecoin, but yeah. So I wouldn't say I fully understand like the whole blockchain stuff, but I have traded in Bitcoin at some point. I didn't join at the early stages, unfortunately, but at the same time, I didn't join at the dying stages. So I was somewhere smack in between. I did make some profits, albeit not too much, because everyone knows that if you're experimenting or trying to invest, you shouldn't actually do it with your real money, do it with spare money. And my spare money wasn't plenty. But anyway, I leave that aside. So basically why I went into it was because again, I was trying to be careful. I had heard about it, but I didn't just want to according to Obiora, money is hardened. I didn't just want to you get now throw money inside there. I have to leave me, please. Thank you. So I had to wait for okay, who else do I know has done this thing that actually worked for? It wasn't until I know that up to about three people that I personally knew were doing it, and they're like, okay, it actually works, kind of safe, da 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 da. So I tested the waters small. Then yeah, it was working. Timmy, off your keyboard. So it was working for a while, then it started declining. And then I was part of the people that were thinking, oh, it's a come up, it's a come up, it's a come up. But anyway, at the closing stages of my time and career in crypto, I lost a lot of money. So I eventually had to forfeit what was there, and I just sold the last, like during Buhari's tenure. I sold the last of it, and I'm like, okay, I'll be observing from outside. If it looks like it's going great, fine. Unfortunately, that Dogecoin stuff, Joey, I wasn't able to get on it. But yeah, that's my experience on it.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that. At least it made you understand how the system, works and how technology has gone, really far. Even though you lost money, but I'm sure you must have gained money at some point too. Okay. I also see Justin's hand up. Hi, Justin. You want to go for it? Hello, Justin. Okay, I don't think he can hear us, so it's probably not close to his phone. Okay, yes, I'll just have to move on. So, yeah, blockchain started,
Motola,
okay, Motola. Hi, Motola. Sorry, I didn't see your hand. Morning.
Hi, Tomisin. Good morning. Yeah, so yeah, about the blockchain, I think my first encounter was of course through the Bitcoin currency. And for me, I'm the kind of person that I'll do all the research I can to before I get into anything. So I think I got in, well, it wasn't too early, but it was early enough to make a decent profit. So like maybe 200 or 300%. Again, I didn't invest too much. I think it was just 50K. By the time I withdrew it, I think it was like 300 or so. But it was pretty early. And I think for me, what really drew me or what I found really interesting was the concept behind it, especially Bitcoin. I know this is not how all the currencies work, right? But Bitcoin, the idea is they sort of work differently from fiat currencies, right? So fiat, usually what would happen is if your country is broke, for instance, the government has the ability to just print money, right? And when they do that, it's sort of effect. So you could have inflation, you could have all of that. right? But the way blockchain works is that it has a set, or Bitcoin, let me say Bitcoin again. It has a set amount of coins that can ever and would ever be produced, which is 21 million. So I think it sort of works the way you would say gold works, right? The idea is that gold is a limited resource. So because it's a limited resource, people can't manipulate it the way you can manipulate fiat currencies. So also the way it works is that when you start mining, it is easy to mine. But when you now get to, there's something they call the half-life, right? So when you hit a particular amount, you now use twice the amount of energy to mine it, right? So what that means is that as you go further, it gets harder, right? And it also creates, naturally, it means what you would have is that you get to a point where supply and demand is not sort of controlled, right? So it's a lot harder to manipulate. Of course, everything that happens in the system is out in the public, so there's transparency as well. So I thought it was a really, really interesting concept when I heard about it back then. Back then, people were still trying to see if it would become like a currency. So sort of how you have what do you call it, dollar, naira. But I think over time, it started to seem more like a store of value. And I think for me, I think that is sort of where blockchain might be headed. I might be wrong. So sort of how you have people use gold, right, as a store of value. So they use it to hedge against inflation and all. But right now, what you have is that because it is still, don't people say it's in the later stages? I actually still think it is very much in its early stages, right? So because as much as you might know about it, there are countless people who don't know about it, right? So I think when you have more people know about it, when it's more universally accepted, it will become a better store of value, right? So that's just like a wrap up or a summary of it. Yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Motola, for helping us understand it better. So I'm now curious, right? Before I move ahead, so people's perception of these things dying down, maybe because many people have lost money, or it feels like something that might not last, right? There's already a perception as regards the NFTs, for example. Some people still don't believe in it. Some people feel it's a scam. I'm just curious to hear, say, maybe like a Bukola's, opinion and perspective as regards this. Hi, Bukola. Good morning.
Hi, morning, Tomisin. So my perspective about why NFTs or people's perceptions. I think so. Generally, if you go with the notion of NFTs is around, the notion of the metaverse is around two main things. One is Web3, and the second is decentralization. And so the idea of decentralization is that, like Bitcoin and other things that are done on the blockchain, that if you're able to build value, right, into a system, then the normal laws that you already know from economics would apply. Now, the issue, kind of like the boom and bust of the internet, whenever that was 99, whatever that was, it's the same thing I think you've experienced with NFTs, that the fact that you can create an NFT doesn't make it valuable and doesn't mean it would increase in value. It's as simple as that. Same with some of the coins, right? The new technology, normally just historically now, when new technology is introduced, you find that people kind of go haywire with it. They make a lot of assumptions. They put money because they don't fully understand it in different things. There's a boom, there's a bust, and then we have a reset. And the technology, if it's like a good technology, would still survive, which is what happened to the internet, because the internet then became what it became or has become, and it has changed all of our lives, right? So I expect actually that the metaverse has done is boom a little bit. It's done a solid bust, but I really think it is still going to take off, because the technology, the back-end technology, empowers people to do more, and it supports commerce. It supports, it decentralizes power. Also, it decentralizes crime, or it enables crime. So I do think it will take off, along the proper trajectory. But with NFTs, like everything else, you have to build value into it over time. So it's not the fact that, let's say, I can't remember any particular one now, an artist decides to create an NFT and you buy it at a certain value, great. Does not mean it would appreciate unless there's a system in place that drives up the value of that NFT, like any, I suppose, piece of thing that you own. So the people who have tried to use NFTs as loyalty programs, I know Nike does some bits around that and give extra experiences and tries to build a bit more meaning into it. But the long story short is that there needs to be a system where the NFTs appreciate based on the normal laws of demand and supply because of what they are, not because, I can mine an NFT and I've done it. And so I expect that it would appreciate just because it doesn't go that way. So I think people's perception, for now with NFTs, I think some people have done it right actually, but I think it's right because most of them are not, and we said that from the beginning, not benchmarked against anything that you can see the economics of it. So I think it's still early days. It will. Still, I think Metaverse is still going to impact our lives in a significant way. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Bukola. I agree with you as regards, the impact of these different existing platforms, either for finance or anything virtually, basically. Because if we look at the present day reality of how much VR, AR has taken over artificial intelligence as well, we can tell that there's a lot of positive reactions to it and acceptance. I mean, for what I know, I know for a fact that so many advertising agencies, for example, have sort of adopted the use of AI in creating, campaigns, right, for their clients, and it's just very interesting to see that many brands have gone with the flow because nobody wants to be left, out of evolving, right? And I mean, I think even earlier last month or month before, we also did some stuff for one of our clients, and that's the Maggie client, and it was pretty much accepted. It goes to show that whether we like it or not, because of its positive impact, right, on the economy, on the way of life, and the daily engagement, it goes to show that these things will always impact and affect our lives, whether we like it or not. I also hear people say that AI will take jobs and all that. Yeah, to some extent, yeah. I know there are lots of court cases already against some of these platforms, stealing intellectual property and all. But I mean, it's the humans that develop these things and keep making it feel much more advanced, right? And that is to show you how much the metaverse is rapidly growing. So if you move to the next slide, I highlighted a bit about the different extended realities that we already have existing from as far back as early 2000s to our current date. And we can see that, yes, thank you. And we can see that we have a lot of them, that have just kept coming up, of recent. So, for example, we have, the virtual reality, I don't know what to call it now. Is it the glasses, the headset, sorry, the headset. We have the augmented reality games. Like I mentioned earlier, the Pokemon game. I think that was a very cool concept that I first got acclimatized to And okay, sorry guys, can you give me a minute? I think someone's at the door. The nanny's around.
All right. Over to me since away. Joey, do you want to talk to us about your Dogecoin experience? Joey, yes, Joey.
It, well, I think the best thing to say is just don't follow some major influencers. I mean, what's this our uncle's name? Elon Musk was the was the key perpetrator, the key influencer in advertising Dogecoin to the whole world. And if you are, I guess you're if you are involved in anything crypto, you always try to watch for trends, right? And at that time, I know Elon Musk, he had he had quite a lot going on with SpaceX and all of that. So when I kind of looked at it and said, oh, Elon Musk is going to invest in Dogecoin, and people want to follow him. So I just said, okay, this seems like a good opportunity too. I was kind of foreshadowing, but unfortunately, it was just like a huge meme coin. Actually, I didn't put a lot of money into it. Maybe like around 20 or 20K or so. But never again. Don't follow the crowd. Don't follow influencers.
Yeah, sorry, Joey. All right, thanks. Okay, so I think it's safe to call that one scam coin. Anyways, moving on. So yeah, I was talking about the augmented reality and how, for me personally, I experienced it in 2016, and it made me understand how these things keep advancing, right? And it goes to show that many of these XR, extended reality, basically, would always keep evolving, right? It gets to a point whereby you might even see people, visualize and create their own virtual universes, right? And create characters, right? That would sort of be very customized to whatever they're trying to achieve, right? And that's the space by which this metaverse is going and growing fast. So my next slide says how can we actually benefit? How can we benefit from the metaverse? There are lots of ways. I think technology has so advanced that brands have started to plug in and also be a part of, right? For example, I know for a brand like Apple, right? Apple started out with, their computers, but now they've gone as far as producing, watches to VR headsets and the likes, right? It just shows the incline in technological advancement, right? For brands such as Apple and the rest, Bang and Olufsen and the likes. So how are the ways that we think, or how do you think we can benefit from metaverse? In my own opinion, I think the first thing is social networking. If you go to the next slide. So in recent times, we realized that we're doing a lot of things through social networking, either meetings or meeting up with people, or having virtual concerts and the likes. Basically, it is to create some sort of community within the virtual space, right? I won't be surprised if in another 10 years, right? So, for example, the current product that is being pushed by Apple, which is their virtual VR headsets, has a lot of developments that I think will still work in line with the metaverse eventually. I mean, already we are communicating and interacting with people via virtual headsets, right? And then there's a lot of interactions going globally about that, right? So social network is a strong play in that space, right? And it goes to show that there are no more borders, right? And I also think there's the positive side to the pandemic that recently happened, some few years back. It goes to show that there's a lot of interaction that can be done seamlessly online, right? And there are lots of people that even from then, they've moved businesses from the physical brick and mortar space to the virtual space, right? I know of a software company, for example. Andela is a company that I know used to have a physical space, but now they've sold off their space. I mean, since the lockdown, they sold off their space, and then all their working platforms and everything is done virtually, is done online, right? They are leveraging on the existing technology, which is, still under the metaverse, right? And these are the things that we probably didn't know is what the metaverse entails, but they are the benefits and the everyday reality that we're experiencing currently. And whether we like it or not, it will keep advancing, right? Just make sure that you're not caught being redundant or stale. You're not advancing alongside it. So without further explanation on social networking, I put up a video in the next slide about how virtual reality was probably curated by Apple and what they recently launched with their VR headsets.
Can you put your hands in your head? Oh no, I said dreamer. You say you are a dreamer. Well, can you put your hands in your head? Oh no, I said fudge. Wanna take the year, hey lady this. Well, you know, you're coming to you. I miss you so much.
Toast.
Thank you, Anthony. So if you agree with me, I would say that I think that the Vision Pro, Apple's Vision Pro, is already playing in that metaverse space. I mean, the power to interact, right, in real time, like I said, virtual space, right, without having to travel, without having to do so much, basically. I mean, people's reviews about the Vision Pro, by the way, is that it's too expensive. But then I think the experience is very advanced. It's very what we've been looking forward to, right? And it goes to show that the metaverse space, right, will always continue to go, will always continue to grow. Because if 20 years ago we were envisioning this and then we're currently experiencing it, it just makes us understand that the technology will always keep advancing, and then the metaverse will always keep expanding, basically. Okay, since I had in this comment, well, I mean, for the people that have the money, yes, it's worth the experience. So my next point on what I think you can benefit, right, from the metaverse is also gaming and entertainment. People collaborate, play games online, virtually, and all that, aside meeting up physically, right? I mean, many a times when I play FIFA, mostly midnight, I play virtually with my friends in the UK, the US, Canada, And then it just goes to show that there's seamless connection, seamless collaboration, right? And there are lots of games and platforms whereby people leverage on these days. Recently, there was a collaboration between Fortnite, the Fortnite game, and Travis Scott. And I mean, surprisingly, because I'm a bit new to it, I was still questioning how this guy actually made his money, because he made a lot of money from, just that show. And, I'm still doing my research as to how did he generate, people, or rather, how did he generate so much money from such a platform? Because I know, fine, people would have characters that they would log in to watch the concerts virtually. And also, I think there were levels that they had to unlock. So the way you have your parties and then you have regular VIP, VVIP, and the rest, I think that was probably the model or structure that they put towards such a platform for his own concert, his Metaverse concert. So I think I have a clip for, and costumes, yeah. So probably you have to pay for costumes that you'd wear as a character and look cool in the Metaverse space. So yeah, this is a long video, so we could just watch for a few minutes.
Okay, I don't know what's happening. I guess internet. Okay.
Okay, I think we can, on our own, try to just go to YouTube and search for Travis Scott's concert. Okay, no problem. Let's just move on. Let's just move on. So there are lots of entertainment platforms, gaming platforms that people have tapped into to enjoy or experience the metaverse better. Even this game, Cyberpunk, the whole storyline, the whole play and build up of the game, right, really portrays what the metaverse structure that we have been talking about, is. And it makes me understand that there are lots of brands, either gaming brands, financial brands, and all sorts that would eventually move into this space, right? Because I think what people do is when they see that there's something that is, really working for them, especially the positive impact that it creates, many people just tend to tilt towards that direction. And if a part of it, which is the AI, is already creating a lot of buzz and doing a lot of things. Recently, I think it was Motola's session that she shared a viral image of the Pope that was dressing all cool and hip. But then it was AI, right? And it goes to show that people are really tapping into it. And before you know it, you see brands like the Versace's, the Gucci's that are actually, plugging into these different platforms under the metaverse and using that as a leverage to expand their business because their audience is playing so well in that space. Another point that I think that people can benefit from the metaverse is actually education and learning. So I think metaverse, next slide please. Metaverse creates room for people to learn a lot, right? For example, Yeah, please. Okay, you can just play this briefly. Let's see. So that we can understand what I was saying earlier.
In 2077, they voted my city the worst place to live in America. Main issues: sky-high rate of violence, and more people living below the poverty line than anywhere else. Can't deny it, it's all true. But everybody still wants to live here. This city's always got a promise for you. Might be a lie, an illusion, but it's there, just around the corner, and it keeps you going. It's a city of dreams, and I'm a big dreamer.
All right, thank you. All right, today. So I just even remembered a particular. I can't remember the title right now, but there was a series I saw recently on Netflix that had a lot of these different extended realities, well put into the. It was an episodic, like all these short series where you have different episodes. They are not even the same. And they had a lot of infusion of, thank you, Black Mirror. Yes, Black Mirror. They had a lot of infusion of, mixed reality, AR, VR, and all together in different. It's a recommendation for you to see. So you begin to understand how people have started thinking of this advanced technology and playing in that space. And I won't be surprised if many of them, start to become our everyday reality. Imagine this session now, for example, that we are in, and by next week we're asking questions about this session, and you have some sort of memory sensor whereby you can rewind. Just while in that meeting, you can rewind and quickly get a glimpse. Or imagine you're having an argument with somebody and the person says something like, but he just told us that this is not what he said. And then the person, because you need evidence, you just go back and rewind, right? Those were the things that, they put as components in that series, which is very interesting. So it goes to show how much of technology advancements will keep coming into play, right? And I think those guys leverage on the existence of the metaverse, right, to create these things, because the mind will continue to keep growing further and further just to develop and keep getting creative about many of these things. And that is to show you the growth process of where the metaverse really is and where it's heading to. My other point is education and learning. Yeah, there are lots of virtual classes, lots of platforms whereby people, have taken the VR learnings to the AR learnings to, and there are lots of experiential learning that is going on, right, globally, right? If you go to Japan, for example, now there are lots of robotics learning, right, that has to do with the metaverse, the virtual space that they are constantly creating. And the mind-blowing part about it is that these things that are being learned are taught in their secondary schools, their primary schools. So it becomes a part of them growing up. And it's very bothering that in our schools here in Nigeria, because of the level of education, they are still labeling diagram of insects. It's really, really bad. It's really, really bad. So if you have, kids and you are enthusiastic about this kind of learning, I think it would be very good to groom them early enough, let them understand. I mean, we have kids that are already operating smartphones and laptops at the age of 3, 4. So it shows how much of things they are willing to learn and adapt, right? And that is exactly where the metaverse is taking us all into, whether young or old. So that's the beautiful benefit of the metaverse, the ability to learn and educate yourself to become better at whatever you are doing. I mean, already we have the AIs, the chat GPTs writing, scripts and codes for lots of platforms. So it is a portrayal that metaverse will always keep advancing and still growing. I also listed quite a number of existing platforms that the metaverse is playing in. If you go to the next slide, you'd see that I highlighted some that are gaming platforms, some that are blockchain platforms. For example, the Fortnite that I mentioned earlier. Next slide, please. The Fortnite I mentioned earlier, we'll see a lot of people collaborating on these game platforms, Roblox. Same people that also do Bitcoin, blockchain, and all that. There's a platform whereby they also do these things, right? And it's also some sort of collaboration, a community where they get to network and virtually converse, right? Same way for virtual networking, we have the VR chats, the record room, and the likes. On that note, I think I've come to the end of my conversation. So please, if you have questions or opinions or views, I'd like to hear them, 1-2 minutes before we wrap it up finally. Any contribution from anybody? Or whatever you saw recently that blew your mind about the metaverse? Anybody? Okay, on that note, next slide. I'll say thank you for your time. And next slide. See you guys later in the metaverse. Thank you, Ayatollah. Thank you, everyone, for your time and listening. Over to you, Ayotunde. I'm done.
Yes, so I'm trying to exit the full screen. Thank you very much, Tomisin, for retaking this session. Thank you, everyone. I'm sure we have a lot of questions. I will probably see your DM to ask you because it's metaverse and blockchain and everything. Anyway, Motola, please share warming up. You come and take us on a class on Bitcoin. It seems like you understand it. Maybe you created itself for all we need. All right, everyone. That's the end of today's session. See you in our various meetings and have a wonderful rest of the day. Bye.
All right, thanks, guys. Bye.